what's going on, everyone? I'd like to welcome Mr. Matt Riddle to the show. From what bands has he been? No Use for a Name, Face to Face, Pulley, and now most recently,
I just joined God's. Yeah, God's of Mount Olympus. I just joined. I'm in Implants as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been around the block a few times.
Right on, man. So where are you at tonight?
What's that?
Where are we talking to you from? You down in California?
Oh, I'm down in Southern California, kind of near San Bernardino, a few hours out of LA. I live out in the high desert, which is pretty much the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it's full circle. I'm kind of back where I started.
Cool, man. So you just live there with your old lady?
Yeah, me and my wife and my dog.
Right on, man. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know how these bands keep trying to find me, and I try to get as far away from everybody as I can, but I get calls, so I gotta go down and try out, you know.
Yeah, you got to put your phone in airplane mode for a few years, or people will be able to track it.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, folks at home, I'm sure know all of your other bands, but before we get into that, let's talk about your new project, Gods of Mount Olympus.
Well, so I've met Brian. Actually, I've met all the guys back in the day, but Brian, I met him most recently when there's a band from San Diego called Skipjack, and they've been around for quite a while, but they're good friends of mine. We've done a lot of shows together, and I went in and filled in for their bass player one night. I just kind of sat in and played, and Brian and their drummer Paul from Gods of Mount Olympus were both there, and they're like, "Man, we'd really like if you came down and tried out." So I went down, and it's Paul Rucker, who was in like Armchair Martian and Street Dogs, and then Steve Morse, who was in Unwritten Law, and then Brian, who's in like Scorpios and all that. And these guys are all super talented. I've known them for a while. So I went down and jammed with them and just had the best time. The guys are like super cool. It's a little different style of music than than the more traditional punk rock stuff I'm used to doing. So it was kind of a challenge, and I totally loved it. It was a great time.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't able to find much. I saw a live video, and I kind of got like almost like a Bad Astronaut vibe to the tunes. Would that be kind of in the vein you guys are going for?
No, I don't know. I didn't really look at it like that, but maybe you're right. I have to maybe check that out a little bit more.
I just think because of the keyboard or piano, and it's kind of more of an alternative feel than a punk rock feel.
What was cool was the first time I met Brian actually was we did the Fat Records 25th anniversary thing. We did a No Use for a Name. It was me, Rory, and Dave from No Use. And we had a bunch of guest singers come up. Some of the people that are listening have probably seen it online and stuff. And it was really awesome. And Brian, because Brian was in a band with Tony, he was like, I already knew Joey was going to do it, but he was like the first guy I asked, Brian. I didn't even know him at the time. And he was totally down, and he totally killed it. Like, it was amazing. So I liked that guy right from the start. And so I kind of knew that it was going to be a good time.
Cool, man. Yeah, because he released a solo album, did he not, with Joey on his 1 week records?
Yeah, on 1 week records. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And the pianos what kind of drew me in because it was different. It was just like it still has this like kind of more like upbeat, aggressive kind of feel to it, but it also has this other side that I'm really interested in. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the future brings with these guys.
Yeah, you think you're going to be pretty busy this year?
Man, I have no idea. The industry's so weird nowadays compared to when I first started playing. It was totally different. There was no internet. There was none of that stuff. And word of mouth seems to be like your best. It's the best way to get your name out there. You think that the internet would do it, but you get as much negative as positive press. So there's really no way to win.
Yeah. It's actually funny that you mentioned that because I just randomly looking on Google today, and I stumbled across an interview that you and Tony had did like fucking like early 2000s or something, and you were talking about how much the record industry's changed and it's not the same, and it's like, holy fuck, that was like 15 years ago. So
I know.
More different now.
Oh yeah, it's just changes more and more. It's now kids can get real quick. I'm 50 years old at this point, so I always consider everybody else kids. Even if they're older than me, everybody's a kid. So I wanted to clear that up. But kids today can get a hold of any, MacBook Pro and get GarageBand and record. Like anybody can do it nowadays, and come out with a halfway decent recording. So it's super available. And so the industry is flooded with people wanting to do this. And so it's actually harder now than it was 15 years ago when you saw that interview.
It's crazy.
Because there are some talented people out there, man. Oh my God.
There is, man. So many.
Yeah.
So I don't know what date it is right now. I'm so confused. It's January 30th right now. I don't know when this is airing, but you guys' album comes out mid-February. Is that right?
Yeah, February 16th.
And you're putting that out on Bird Attack?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So
yeah.
Do you have a relationship with Garrett and those guys at Bird Attack, or is it just kind of already set up by the time you got into this band?
I've met the guys before, but I actually talked to them a little bit at that. We did a show last weekend, and it was the first time I actually kind of talked to the guys. So they're all super cool dudes, and the record. I think the record sounds amazing. I personally didn't play on it. I'm always one record late. It seems like I'm always one record late to the show, except for like with Pulley. I was on that first record, and that was the only one. But everything else. That and the first Face to Face. But other than that, I'm always like, second or third record in, okay, I'll join. I don't know why.
You got in at a good time with No Use, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. Also, they had already recorded it, and then you joined. I didn't realize.
Yeah, actually, it was cool because since it was already recorded, I could just, practice along to it. And it was interesting for me because the bass player, he uses 5 strings. He's got the drop B, and I don't have that. So I detune way down, like a whole step. So I have to play a little bit lighter. Pulley was the same way. I had to play lighter and just a little bit more on it for it to all work. But I don't want to go to a 5-string. I don't have any interest in that at all.
Yeah. You play with a pick, right? Or do you play with your fingers? I can't remember.
Fingers. Yeah, I cannot play with a pick to save my life.
I was going to say that would be a whole nother dynamic, adding that big fat string into the mix. You would think.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. I'm totally fine where I'm at. I'm not good with a pick. I did 2 No Use for a Name songs with a pick just to kind of clear it up, and I really don't like the way they came out. So yeah, I just kind of quit after that.
Okay. So I'm sure you don't remember this, but I met you like years and years ago when you came to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and
okay.
You did take the time and we were talking, and I'm trying to remember. You told me one of the No Use albums was like your guys' own personal Vietnam. Like you had such a bad time recording it. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. I'm sure it was Keep Them Confused.
Oh, okay.
It was either that one or Making Friends. That one was a pretty tough one to get through, actually. Making Friends, when you listen to that record, it's so aggressive. I mean, we were kind of at each other's throats. I had just joined right after Leche, so we did a lot of touring on Leche Con Carne, and then we went into that studio, and we were already burned out. So both of those records were really tough ones to make.
I think it might have been the earlier one, just by the sound.
Oh, Making Friends. Yeah, it's probably Making Friends.
That's awesome. So did you play with the pick on that one?
No. But we had a hard time. Like the bass was actually re-recorded. We had to redo all the bass guitars because we were having a hard time making the bass sound in tune with the guitars. It was a nightmare. I don't even know what happened. And it turns out the guitars were recorded like way too low endy, so we had to redo the guitars. It was a mess.
Shit. Well,
yeah, and then right after that, and this is kind of the reason I left Pulley, was because we just got done with the record, and Scott Radinsky had called me from Pulley, and he's like, "Hey, just stay in the studio because we're all going to come up and record the next Pulley record." And I was like, "Scott, I got to go home, dude. It's been like a month and a half. I want to kill myself. There's just no way I can pull it off."
To hear the rest of this interview, check out punkanormalactivity.com or use one of your favorite podcast apps such as SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, and more. Hope you guys check it out.